Good afternoon and welcome to the weekend Funcast. Adam and Russ, good to have you back in
Hey,
the
good
studio.
to be here. Yeah.
What a fun weekend we got ahead of us. Just a ton of good action going on. Things just kind of getting into football season. We had our first NFL picks. We'll get to that later in this episode. But just a lot of fun stuff kind of going on in the Valley.
Right. This is, you kind of get, at least for me, one of my favorite times of the year. You got kind of the weather, even though it has stayed warm for sure. I will say this, I'm one of these people that likes to extend the warmth as long as possible because we know what's coming. It's inevitable, right? Yeah. And it's not that I'm super anti-cold, but I'm okay with it waiting till it's proper time.
Yes.
So that's
you don't like they say in that game, that show I've never seen.
Yes.
Game of Thrones. Never seen it.
Oh, love
but I know
it.
they say
Favorite
winter
show.
is coming.
Yes.
They don't say winter is coming in September.
Right,
they just
right.
say it's coming.
Wouldn't that have been something, though? That's something, if they could have
Good way
gone.
to lose viewers.
If they could have gone back, I think they're regretting it now. But no, yeah, and so with that in mind, you start looking and we talk about these things, right? September, you've got just about every weekend into October, you've got those kind of more fallish sort of festivals and events coming on. So you're right, great time of the year. This weekend, a pretty big weekend. I can think of at least a couple events going on. We've got Dreckerfest, we've got the Carlos Creek. I still can't say it. Yeah, I said yesterday, I was like, I did some live shots of that. I kept wanting Carlos Creek, Winery.
It's like Elmer Fudd.
I know. And I kind of,
I've got some ideas for Halloween costumes.
Exactly, that or Charlie Brown. By the way, kind of a different, many years ago, I had someone paint the Charlie Brown on the back of my head, and so it was like I would turn around and you could see Charlie Brown. So it was actually very good. I wore like the yellow stripe, and it was it worked out. But anyway, Elmer Fudd, another great deal there. Maybe as we get closer to Halloween, we can figure this out for me.
We'll
you see my face. There's a lot of things we can do that would make it scary without taking much time at all. But anyway, great weekend. The weather is going to be overall, it's actually the day. One of the nice things about it is, so we're kind of at that point where, okay, we could use a little rain, right? Things have gotten a little dry. We're going to have opportunities, especially later this evening and tonight. But the nice thing is, as we look at the weekend, our chances for rain and for storms are generally going to come late evening, overnight. The daytime hours are going to be very nice.
And it's better to just get it out of the way while everyone's asleep.
Exactly. No, you're right about that. Especially these weekends, they become, again, we start looking at the weather and kind of like what happens here over the next month or two. And you really, on those weekends, it's like you want to just squeeze every bit of sunshine and warmth, into it. And that's exactly what we've got. What I want to do, though, go ahead and walk you through kind of what we are expecting if I can pick this thing up. So this is our first look forecast. We're actually starting at 3 o'clock this afternoon here. This is kind of that beginning point. We've already going to have some rain. We've got some rain showers. So there are certainly areas, Devils Lake Basin, James River Valley, where we are looking at rain this afternoon. The progression of this rain and the storms, and there will be a few storms. We are not expecting anything severe, but that opportunity for storms is going to be there. Let's see if my buttons work. If they don't, then this is all we're going to see. Let's go. Let's go, man. Okay, well, until this works, if it does or doesn't, what we're going to, by the way, this occasionally the connection isn't great, so you may just have to deal with what I'm saying here, my words. These showers, they're going to start to move toward the east. I think it's this evening around 7, 8, and 9, the River Valley, we start having our best chance for showers. Maybe again a few thunderstorms. Again, not expecting anything severe. So if you're planning on going out this evening, especially later this evening, look for that chance of shower storms to move through. By the time we get to tomorrow morning, those showers, those storms have passed. They're off, like when I say tomorrow morning, 6, 7, 8 o'clock, they're off to our east. And what we're going to be left with behind that is more clear sky. So we kind of have that window. And again, like I said, I think the big thing is here, you're watching this, you are in our westernmost regions. Obviously, you are seeing the rain, you're seeing the storms out there. But if you're in the Red River Valley, expect that if you do have plans, let's say, again, mention 7, 8, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock this evening, want to have that umbrella, or at least, if you just want to enjoy staying out in the rain, that's one thing, of course. Some people do that. But for the most part, what we want to do is we want to find a place where we can, maybe find some, when the rain, especially storms coming through, find somewhere indoors, that sort of thing. Rain moves out, it's going to leave us with a great Saturday, going to leave us with a great Sunday as well.
Now, unfortunately, from what I understand, we are definitely within the realm of the aurora visibility, but probably not a great night for that if it's probably going to rain.
Right, and that's one of the graphics in theory I would be showing you. Let's see if I can get this going again here. I really want this to work for our people. It's got a big green button here. I'm pushing it. Nothing's happening. I just want to make sure that you guys see that the green button.
About as well as your NFL predictions.
Oh, I thought you were going to say forecasting, but no. But I do want to mention a couple of events earlier, right, for the weekend. Sunshine. Saturday is going to be the cooler of the 2 days, but it's still going to be well above average with our temperatures. We're going to see our highs anywhere from mid-70s to low 80s on Saturday, then low 80s to potentially even a couple of upper 80s on Sunday. But again, that said, going to be a lot of clear conditions. Tomorrow is going to be a calmer day as far as the winds go. On Sunday, we start to see a little bit more of a breeze out of the south. So again, Saturday, Sunday, if you remember nothing else because of the graphics, remember this. Rain chances this evening and tonight. Tomorrow, sunny, very nice, comfortable temperatures. Sunday, nice and sunny. A little bit warmer out
when
there.
When you say comfortable temperatures, what about numbers are we looking at?
Again, I think for tomorrow, we're mid-70s to low 80s. Most areas falling within that 75 to 80 degree range. A couple spots a little bit. Fargo tends to be a little bit warmer than most of the rest of the areas. I think Fargo, Grand Forks as well, down through Siston, kind of the valley here. These are the areas where we're going to see our highs tomorrow reaching low 80s to maybe even creeping up into the mid 80s. But even at that, a little more comfortable, should be dry, should feel really good out there. Sunday, then we're back in the low mid 80s, maybe even a couple upper 80s out there. But again, it comes with your sun. Not your child, the sunshine is what I mean. Yes, yeah. So, sometimes I just got to work everything incorrectly. You talked about the aurora tonight. Yes, there is a chance we could see it for sure. The conditions are there. It's one of those things that you never can guarantee it's going to go, that you guarantee you're going to see it, but the chances are certainly there. The problem, as you mentioned, is this is that window where the rain is kind of moving through out by tomorrow morning, but then again, daylight, right?
And that's the downside of, you talked about it's going to be raining overnight. Well, that's the downside of that.
Yeah.
But it seems like an active time for the sun. Let's see if I can remember the term I learned with Lisa Green. Coronal something.
Effect,
Coronal.
I'm trying to think
I
of
want
the
to
word.
say explosions, but that's not it. But the sun's like basically burping out.
Right, the flares, solar flares. You've got that.
Flares.
Yeah.
And so it seems like, but the sun is doing a lot of these flares.
Yes.
We might not get it this weekend, but could we get it another time, maybe relatively soon?
We're kind of in it. Well, the thing is, we're kind of in an active. That's one of those things where you can only look kind of so far off. But based on what we've seen over the last couple, maybe even 3 months, is that sun is definitely more active right now.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, okay, day to day, are we going to know like a week in advance? Not necessarily, no. But what we can expect overall is that activity is going to be a little more active.
Okay, so we'll probably, no guarantees, but in theory, get another chance before the winter comes.
Oh, absolutely. I think we'll have, in my opinion, I think we'll have a number of chances to do that. So it's not like a one shot tonight and then, okay, we're done, it's too bad. You don't see it tonight. I even think this week, and I think Saturday night, Sunday night, I still think we have that opportunity as well.
That's great. Definitely something to monitor. Absolutely.
Exactly.
If you get some pictures of that, send it to us because our viewers just do such a great job sending us pictures, whether it's the auroras or and anything else. Shout out to those guys.
One of my favorite, you did a great job there, a couple things that we seem to get this time of year that we love is, I say this time of year, really any time we get solar activity, our viewers are so good about sending pictures. In fact, typically we get so many that we can't show them all. And especially if you've got like 7, 8, 9, 10 that we get in that just look really spectacular. We'll try to post them online, and usually we do, but in terms of what we show on air, it's like we have a window based on our time of maybe showing 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And I'm always thinking, I wish we could just
Even
have
the
a separate weather day.
mentions
Exactly.
are great.
Exactly. It's just an honor to be nominated. The other thing is, sunrise, sunset this time of year, especially when we get a little bit of smoke. We don't like the smoke, right? Or at least I don't like it when you're out there and breathing it. But with that little bit of a haze that we often see with the smoke, man, the sun, get that refraction of light, the sun is spectacular. And we've been getting a lot of great sunrise, sunset pictures as well, and always encourage those. I mean, anything you've got like that just shows the beauty of what's going on around us. Yeah, we'll take those anytime.
Well, I believe that gets us just about through the forecast. Should we get into some of our NFL?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Let's see what you got here.
Well, first we got to start with what happened last week for you, Russ. And
Oh, do we have to start there?
I hate to throw Russ under the bus.
Yeah.
But Russ rhymes with bus. So
it really
here
does.
it is. This is not good. Professor Shalafou gave you a D+. Now,
Yeah.
if it was a curved grade, you could have been spared there, but unfortunately that is not how we do it.
Right.
Perhaps at the end of term we may see a curve. But here's something worth noting, though, is the highest of anyone in our predictions pool.
Yeah.
They got a 13. And so the 11's really not that bad. I believe I got a 12. I didn't use the same pick sheet everyone else did. Otherwise, I would show my mistakes as well there. But overall, really not too bad. Don't let the number fool you. And just always hard to predict. Taking one more look at that, like a lot.
Thanks, Adam.
Like a lot of. I had Baltimore with you.
Yeah.
I had Atlanta there with you. No one thought, except Gabriel, who actually tied for the best of the week. He was the only one who had New England, so there were a lot of upsets.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do?
And the problem with Gabe is that he still thought Belichick was coaching the. He said he goes, Brady's going to have an outstanding game, I believe.
Yeah, we said,
that's not
what year is it?
that's not really true.
He said, I really like Bledsoe, the backup as well.
Remember last year when Brady took over for him when he got hurt?
Yeah.
No. I'm kidding, of course. Gabe did a great job. I'm just trying to throw him under the bus because I did worse than him. And the one that I'm really disappointed in myself, like I look back at these picks and I go, okay, you know what? Picking Baltimore over Kansas City, that's reasonable, right? I mean, Baltimore, a very talented team, and they looked good in the first quarter, and then that was that. Atlanta over Pittsburgh, that seemed reasonable. The one that I look at and I'm most disappointed is I picked the New York Football Giants, right? I just thought to myself,
and that's where you went wrong.
That's where I went. We talked about the Joneses last week and Daniel, way behind. But anyway, and I looked, and I was, obviously watched a lot of that game because it was on locally here, and I just thought to myself, when you get into something and you're already like at the end of the first quarter and you're like, what was I thinking? I mean, what was I thinking? I had all kinds of analysis here that I thought was good last week.
Well, you're off to a hot start this week.
I want to know, right? I did.
If you don't mind, I'll have you control the mouse over there as we kind of go through our picks on this computer. But you already got the Bills over Miami.
I'm controlling a mouse, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know what I'm doing.
Let's do this one right here.
Oh, okay.
And so we got so many mouses in here. And luckily, they're just computer mouses, not an infestation of rodents.
Right.
Which is good.
And I'm happy for a couple reasons real quick, and I want to say this, is that not only did I get the game correct last night, and by the way, I'd be remiss if I didn't also thank Summer Schnellbach, who admittedly herself knows nothing about the NFL. What's funny is I was picking these games yesterday, every single game, the 14 other games, 15 other games, picked them. Last night's game was so difficult for me. I was sitting next to her. I said, Summer, I know you know nothing about football. You've admitted this. Buffalo, Miami. Who are you going with? She goes, Buffalo. I said, all right. So I checked Buffalo. I might have still gone with Buffalo, but I really don't know.
I broke one of my biggest rules on my picks, too.
And that is?
I always pick the Bills because my dad's name is Bill. And the Shalafous are winners.
Right.
Right. So,
I love that.
Yeah.
And
missed opportunity there. And, the Dolphins, I think, maybe going to be a tough stretch without their starting quarterback.
Absolutely.
Going down the line here.
Yeah, I also, and I apologize. The other thing I want to say real quick, fantasy football, our league, I actually made a trade after the draft with Adam. I gave you Deebo Samuel, and you gave me a Kane from the H-N, thank you. I don't know why I said that the way I did, but either way, big night for me last night.
Yeah, so we'll see how Deebo does for me.
Okay, sorry.
I got Dallas over New Orleans. What about you?
Yeah, I believe I've got Dallas over New Orleans.
Dallas over New Orleans. I got Detroit over Tampa Bay. This was a tough one to pick for me.
Was it?
It was.
I mean, Tampa looked great last week. What's
Yes.
his name?
And so did Detroit.
Why
Baker
can't
Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield there? He had a great game last week, but I really feel like Detroit, they're so good at this point. Their defense has improved on what it was. Their offense is just clicking. They've got so many stars on that team.
Yeah.
And it's in Detroit, so I went with Detroit. Is that who you went with, Detroit?
I did go with Detroit.
Okay.
Green Bay, if they had a healthy quarterback, it would be a no-brainer. But Malik Willis, I believe
What
0
you talking
career
about?
touchdowns. And what are you talking about? No, for real. Because 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions on his career, that's not going to bode well against an Indianapolis team that looked pretty good on offense,
Yeah.
pretty explosive with Anthony Richardson. So the Colts, I got taken down. Green Bay in Green Bay.
Yeah, I went that direction as well. I think for the same reason. I think it's just it all comes down to Jordan Love getting hurt for me. The game's in Green Bay, but it's not a factor this time of year, right? When the temperature's like 80 degrees. I mean, the fans, that's a factor, but it's not like you're walking into the frozen tundra, right? You're walking into the temperate beauty of Lambeau Field. So yes, yeah. The next one, New York. We got is that the football Giants here, right? Or do we have the? No, it's the Jets.
Jets at Tennessee.
Jets. Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm old. I can't read, things good or well. My English is not good. I'm from Georgia. I'm going to be honest with you. I remember looking at this. I wish I had the sheet. I do, because I don't have it. And I'm sitting here right now and I'm thinking, just trying to freestyle in my brain and going, who did I take in this one? And I think what I did was, I think I took the Jets, and here's why.
I took the Jets.
I think I took the Jets because their defense, and it was tough last week, San Francisco, right?
San Francisco's a juggernaut. Though.
Yeah, and they're on the road, and I still don't have confidence there in, I am struggling with names today. No,
Zach Levis.
Will Levis, thank you, yes, yeah. I need cue cards for like players' names so they come up and I can read them. Yeah, I just don't have a lot of confidence in him, and I think New York's going to stifle him, and I think the Jets are going to win this game.
I do think the Jets get back on track here. I just said San Francisco's a juggernaut, so I'm sorry, Vikings fans, but 1-1 ain't bad, and I think Sam Darnold's solid. But I just think that even without Christian McCaffrey, Jordan Mason looked so good last week. San Francisco tied for the most interceptions last year. I do think Darnold finds some mistakes. I think San Francisco wins that one by at least a touchdown.
Yeah. In short, I went the same way. Jordan Mason, by the way, Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket, came from my favorite team. Looked great last week. Minneapolis, I hate to say this, or Minnesota, because I did actually pick against the Giants. So this is the second week in a row. First of all, I'd love to see Minnesota win. Second of all, I don't even know who they're playing next week, but next week I'll pick you just because I don't want to make people too angry at me. So, but Frisco this week, yes.
So we got Seattle at New England. Russ, I was impressed by New England.
Yeah.
I think that the Bengals came out a little flat, but still that New England defense was very good.
Yeah.
Ken Walker dinged up for the Seahawks. It was enough to push me over the edge. I am not super confident in it, but I took the Patriots.
New England for me too, and it mainly comes with the idea of Seattle having to fly across
Are you
country.
copying all my picks?
Did we had everyone the
I think we
same?
Everyone so far.
The only thing I'm concerned about is I'm pretty sure I picked Indianapolis, but going back, I'm like, did I pick Green Bay? But I do think I picked Indy. So yes, I think so far everything the same, except Buffalo and Miami. So that's great for me.
True.
New England, and mainly it came down to, I don't know that I'm not sold on Seattle being a juggernaut type team. I'm not sold on New England being that by any means either, but Seattle having to fly across country, I think that gives New England the edge there.
Now we got the New York Football Giants against the Washington Commanders. This one's in Landover, Maryland. Rookie quarterback against not Indiana Jones, not Catherine Zeta-Jones, not what other Joneses did we say? Andrew Jones, Chipper Jones.
Right, the Jones boys, if you will, there,
But Daniel Jones.
But Daniel Jones, I know. This is pretty simple, I think, Washington, and if this were the only game on during that time slot, I'm probably going to go mow the lawn.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with everything you just said. I think the Chargers absolutely roll the Carolina Panthers. It'll be interesting. Maybe we can bring this back. I used to have a segment called the Futility Rankings where we actually talked about the worst teams in the NFL instead of the power rankings.
Yeah.
My futility rankings, teams 32 and 31 in no particular order, would be the Giants and the Panthers. So I'd love to see a bad bowl.
Yes.
A battle of the bad between those two. Because I don't know who's worse, but they're both absolutely atrocious. I think Jim Harbaugh. I said it right this week.
You did, yeah.
They get it rolling. They're rolling with J.K. Dobbins. He's looking healthy. We'll see how long that goes. And you changed your fantasy team name too. In Lad We Trust.
In Lad I trust Lad McConkey.
Yeah, I think he's having a nice little year so far.
I feel like, yes. Well, first of all, going with the Chargers as well. Also, I was just going to mention that I've got Dobbins as a running back. He didn't start last week.
He's
starting this week.
Every week.
Playing the Carolina. The other thing is, I pictured kind of Lad. I think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. Is he's the guy that I think is going to be the Cooper Kupp type for the Chargers. Maybe not as many catches because Harbaugh's a more running-oriented guy, but I think Lad's going to be surprisingly good this year.
PPR format, that's a guy you want to definitely keep an eye on.
Yeah.
Cleveland at Jacksonville, some serious question marks right now for the Browns. I think Jacksonville, they almost beat Miami.
Well, they did.
And so I'm still thinking the Jaguars are a little bit better than they're given credit for. That being said, Cleveland's pass defense is no joke. Even though the Browns didn't necessarily look great last week, it should be a close game. Give me the Jags.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you and I are going to have the same pick in every game. I picked the Jags, and it's for basically the same reasons. And I think this year is going to be more of a coming out. I don't know up until this point that, again, you're going to have to help me with names. Trevor Lawrence, thank you. I think this is the year he finally kind of steps into that number one sort of pick that he was. Cleveland, a little bit of a mess at QB. So my feelings on the QB are a couple things for Cleveland, but one is that I don't think Watson's is all that.
Yeah, he does not look very good.
Yeah.
The Baltimore Ravens, really fun team. I just enjoy their colors, and I like the connection to Edgar Allan Poe.
Yes.
I think that is really fun. Their mascots, Edgar Allan and Poe.
Yeah.
And as far as the defense goes, never score. Very hard to score against.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, and they've got him at home. Again, all the same reasons for you. I think I've got Baltimore. I think Baltimore's stifling them with the defense, and then also, they've got a lot of. I mean, when you're talking about Jackson at quarterback, and you've got Henry at running. I mean, that's a pretty loaded team.
It's a Super Bowl contender.
Despite what happened last week, San Francisco game one. I'm still
or against Kansas City.
Kansas City, as some people call it. I tend to call Kansas City San Francisco, but it was Kansas City this time. So, I've got that one.
All right, so I'm guessing we both have the LA Rams against the Arizona Cardinals, even though that one is in Arizona.
I went with the Rams.
I went with the Rams, too. We got a lot of similar picks this week, Russ.
I want to say this really quick with Arizona. Just take me 10 seconds. They won last week, right? And they're actually favored. I had to pause to make sure. The problem is I've heard that the coach who was at one point a defensive coordinator, I believe, in Philadelphia, I believe, taking over Arizona, I just don't have a lot of faith in him. Because I was really neck and neck on this, and I was like, no, I think the Rams are going to go in there and win at the end of the day. So
I think the Rams looked good against Detroit. They took a really good team to overtime. Cooper Kupp might be he's definitely picking up kind of that 2021 look of Cooper Kupp.
Yes.
Justin Fields looking like he's going to get the start again, and otherwise this would have been the Wilson Bowl because Russ Wilson, of course, not to be confused with Russ Thomas, but Russell Wilson and
Bo Wilson. Oh wait, it's Bo Nix. Where's the other Wilson?
Yeah, who knows? But I think that the Steelers go into Mile High and are just simply the better football team. Denver's a hard place to win at, but it's hard to win when your quarterback doesn't want to throw more than 5 yards too, and that's the issue with Bo Nix right now.
Yeah, what's funny is this is a true story. Is this when I was up in the air, and I cannot remember who I picked right now out of the I can't remember. I think I actually went with Denver, and my only thought there was, again, Pittsburgh starting on the road in Atlanta, now having to go west to face Denver second week on the road, Mile High. It was more kind of like the travel and the conditions to me than it was the actual talent on the field.
Meteorologist.
Yeah. I don't know. Altitude of 5,280 feet. It's just going to be tough for the Steelers.
Just started doing all these math equations.
Right.
Well, it might rain, and I don't know.
So I think you and I have a different pick for the first time since last night. Yeah.
All right. Bengals visiting the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are going to roll them.
Yeah, Chiefs.
Do you have the Texans beating my Bears?
I do.
Did you see my tie?
I did. I love that tie, by the way. I don't know if you guys can see this, but if you can, great. If not, it's all bared up.
Just for the Funcast, I felt like I had to break this out for the picks.
Exactly. I will say this. Yes, I picked Houston. Yes, I also know that my starting quarterback is Stroud. and I think he's going to have a rough game because Chicago's defense is so good.
Defense looks really good.
That being said, I think I think Houston's going to pull this one out.
I make my picks with my dad a lot, and he's got an office pool at work.
Okay.
You know? And so we talk on the phone about these, and I'm not going to lie to you. This is the kind of week where we took Chicago, and the conversation was, well, we don't want to root against the Bears.
Right.
But I think
Right.
the Texans could win the game, absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll see how good that Bears offense looks on Sunday Night Football. I'm really excited to watch the game, though.
Yeah.
Great
Oh, yeah.
uniform matchup. The Bears going to be wearing their orange.
Okay.
Houston's wearing, I believe they're all whites.
Oh,
so it
nice.
it'll be a really fun uniform matchup.
Absolutely.
I already know. You said this is your lock.
This
is your lock.
That's right. Well,
This is the symbol for the lock of the week.
Yeah.
Clothespin. Here you go.
Thank you. Here's the thing. I'm a Falcons fan, which means I know the Falcons, which means I pulled for Philadelphia. I mean, not pulled for Philadelphia. I'm obviously not pulling for them, but I don't see how Philadelphia cannot win this game. I don't know if anyone watched the Atlanta. Maybe you're a Minnesota fan and you're like, how's Cousins going to do in Atlanta? Well, he's going to do terrible, mainly because he plays in Atlanta. I don't think it has anything to do with his ability. He's still a great
he looks
quarterback.
Like he can't move right now.
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
Achilles.
yeah. No, you're right about that. So will we see pentatonics? No, I'm just kidding. Penix. We might at some point. My son, by the way, who was here last week, he's 21, so he tends to get a little. He's more emotionally driven, and I think it was sometime in the second quarter of last week, among other words he said, which I can't repeat. We're also. I want to see Penix. Bring Penix in. And then there was some crying. But I'm just kidding. I don't cry like that. Yeah, Philadelphia. And I told you, I think the total points, we do a total points thing, which doesn't actually count. I think I 2 points this game. I think it's going to be
2-0.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, I got Philly.
I do think Philly wins this one. The only way they don't is if Hurts throws some picks. I think the Atlanta defense is actually pretty solid.
Yeah.
They did a good job against the Steelers.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I am going with Philly. Anyway, yeah, we'll check back, see how we did next week. Just for those keeping score at home right now, in first place at Valley News Live is Gabe. Gabe with a 13, and I believe Jonathan also had a 13, so maybe he had a 12. I know Gabe is it was Gabe and Mr. Moon.
I was going to say, I know we had a couple 13s on the board.
Yeah, it was actually, Jonathan for a 12, but Gabe and Eric keep it up.
Right, absolutely.
Leading the class so far. Russ, anything else before we let you go?
No, I don't think so. I think, again, the weekend, get out and enjoy it. I think it's going to be, as mentioned, tonight, be prepared for some rain, maybe a storm or two, nothing severe expected. But the weekend itself, going to be very nice.
Very good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Go out there and enjoy it. If it's not too rainy, if somehow Russ is wrong, go enjoy the Northern Lights. But otherwise, maybe get after them on Saturday. Enjoy it, folks. We'll see you next time.
I'm never wrong. Okay, sometimes.
Let's
But
just
usually
take one
not.
last look of him being wrong. See you later, guys.
That was me.